One of Hillary Clinton's first major addresses as a presidential candidate this year was a call for universal voter registration, for sweeping reforms across the country to make it easier for young people and minorities in particular to vote against a tide of voter suppression measures that have swept particularly across red states. Her remarks at Texas Southern University that day in June were impassioned. She made news. She went further in her proposals than almost any Democrat has gone on the issue of voting rights. And that speech happened to happen in Texas on the same day that Texas Governor Rick Perry was in Texas announcing his run for the presidency. Well, Hillary Clinton's next big policy speech will happen on Monday. It's going to be on the subject of the economy. We are told to expect, again, that there will be news in that speech. Again, that will be on Monday, which happens to be the exact same day that another presidential hopeful named Scott Walker, Republican Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin, plans to be officially announcing that he will be running for president. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. There are so many Republicans running for president, it's hard to find a day to do something when another one of them isn't declaring, right? Joining us now is Karen Finney, Strategic Communications Advisor and Senior Spokesperson for the Clinton campaign. Karen, it's great to see you. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you too, Rachel.
I'm a terrible conspiracy theorist, and that's totally not at all based in fact, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it just so happens. But you know what? Let's just say this. If it does give people the opportunity to draw a contrast between what Scott Walker has been doing in Wisconsin, what's happening there with his hostility to labor or the economy there versus the things that Hillary Clinton will be talking about on Monday, you know, that's fine with us. I mean, we have many opportunities. Same thing in Texas. We drew a contrast. Here's where we are on, here's where she is on voting rights. Let them all say where they are on voting rights.
In which case, when you put it that way, it seems like the real surprise on Monday is that Secretary Clinton is not going to be giving her economy speech in Madison. Maybe.
Well, you know,
Okay.
we're trying to be respectful.
I understand.
No, but on Monday, I mean, I think what you're going to hear is we're going to actually take several weeks to talk about the economy because we think it's important and complex. And so on Monday, what you're going to hear is she's going to kind of lay out her theory of the case, where we are. Obviously, President Obama got us to this point. And how do we make sure that we put in place policies that move us forward? And so she's going to sort of talk about, you know, again, what are the things that we need to do to make sure that we have sustained growth and not just sort of growth for growth's sake, but how do we grow this economy? And I think, again, you may hear a contrast. Some people suggest that it's just about working harder. Well, you know, she takes a different vision. I think she acknowledges people have already been working hard and they have made sacrifices actually to get to this point. You know, I think a lot of people would say they feel like they've, you know, made it through, but now it's time to, people need to feel a sense of security about the economy. I think, and they want to be able to, you know, save for retirement, send their kids to college. I mean, those are the kinds of things people want to be able to do again. And so
one of the things that seems interesting to me strategically, and as a strategic advisor in the campaign, is that's part of your role. I know that Secretary Clinton and almost every other candidate, they talk about the economy every time they talk. I mean, every time they give any remarks, not only just when they're giving prepared remarks, but that's what every voter wants to talk to them about too.
Absolutely.
And so in this case, I mean, should we expect news? Like, has Secretary Clinton held back some policy proposals that she's going to roll out in a big way on Monday that we won't have heard from her before? Or is this summing up other economic proposals that she's made in other settings?
No, I mean, this is the beginning. So I think that's an important point. So it's not all going to come Monday, but it's going to be sort of, here's the framework. And then the idea being, again, sort of taking piece by piece and rolling out ideas specific to each of these different pieces. So I think Monday is the beginning. And you're right. I mean, there is a lot of conversation about the economy. I think it is a key issue on voters' minds, but I also think, you know, voters equate a lot of different issues with their own personal economy and what's happening in their, you know, their own economic security.
We all got to live our own lives.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so how we talk about some of those issues and sort of understand that, I think, is really important. And I think that's part of what you're going to hear from Hillary, again, starting on Monday. I don't want you to be, you know, I want you to be prepared. It's going to be newsy. It's going to be wonderful, but it's going to be the beginning
of a conversation. That will be an ongoing way. Let me, again, thinking strategically, obviously you have a primary to get through, and we don't need to talk about the ins and outs of that right now, but do you guys view I'm thinking about this issue about positioning yourself opposite Scott Walker's announcement, whether or not there was a strategic positioning about the Rick Perry announcement and the voting rights speech. Do you guys view the Republicans as essentially all having the same idea, all having the same proposals on the economy? Or do you differentiate between them and say, well, if we're running against Scott Walker, then we need to talk about these issues. If we're running against Rick Perry, we need to talk about these issues. Jeb's got other ideas.
Yeah.
Are they all an amorphous Republican blob to you guys?
For the most part, yes. And every time any one of them talks, they certainly seem to reinforce the case. What they keep talking about are the policies of the past that we know do not work. They are talking about trickle-down economics. They are talking about, making sure that, we would say that the deck is stacked in favor of the people at the top. They're not talking about how do we make sure we have sort of shared prosperity and sustained prosperity, and sort of what does that mean for the middle class in this country. What we're hearing is, just trust us. It's all going to trickle down, and we know that doesn't work. So again, I think part of her theory of the case is we have to look forward and we have to come with new ideas. And we certainly, there's a serious contrast between, trickle down and what we need to get to in order to sustain growth in this country.
And what we'll get on Monday, at least implicitly, is a serious contrast between Hillary Clinton and Scott Walker on these issues. Karen Finney, senior spokesperson for the Clinton campaign. Will you do me a favor?
You bet.
Will you tell Secretary Clinton that I would very much like to do an interview with her, please?
Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. I got to try.
Of course.
Appreciate it, Karen. All right, we'll be right back. Stay with us.